Story 1. According to posts on relationships, all of the warning signs of domestic violence are concerning. It is not normal to date someone who yells in your face, habitually insults you, destroys your belongings, steals from you, punches holes in drywall, throws dishes, abuses your pets, insists on installing keyloggers or GPS tracking programs on your phone and laptop, and treats you like property. Story 2. Honestly, I wish people would stop pretending that burnout is not a big deal. Many individuals brush it off, saying that everyone is tired and to just push through. However, burnout greatly impacts mental and physical health. It is not just being tired. It is feeling drained, unmotivated, and sometimes even hopeless, which can take a long time to recover from. If more people took burnout seriously, we would all be much happier and healthier. It is completely acceptable to need a break or set boundaries, and we should not have to act as though being constantly exhausted is a badge of honor. Let us normalize taking care of ourselves. Story 3. Needing a little assurance. It's not that hard to provide it when someone needs it, but people often act like it is the end of the world to do so. Story 4. Littering. There is no alternative Earth, and there is no solid plan to move everyone to another planet. Just theories and conjectures. Stop throwing things on the ground. It is both lovely and horrifying that people have to take it upon themselves to clean up areas of their own city. Story 5. The casual sexualization of young children is concerning. Yes, those womanizer onesies are inappropriate and unsettling, not the individuals highlighting that they are problematic. Story 6. Having a baby. I see many people say something like, "Watch me tell my boyfriend I'm pregnant again." And the guy is freaking out while the woman is laughing. Clearly, it wasn't a planned pregnancy, and they're making light of it. It's not a joke. It's a serious matter. Story 7. Epilepsy. I hate having seizures and going into comas, constantly losing jobs and not getting disability. Epilepsy has ruined my life. The medication makes me have nightmares about the end of the world. Story 8. Anxiety has many different levels, and it can be incredibly challenging. I have encountered people who seem dismissive about anxiety, as if it can be easily dismissed like a fly. Story 9. The death of a pet is a profound loss. Pets are not just toys. They are family members. It frustrates me when people do not understand why one would grieve the loss of a pet. Story 10. Discrimination in schools can have a profound impact on a young person's life. Even one instance of such discrimination can be the difference between a child becoming a future surgeon or facing homelessness. Unfortunately, it is often perceived as no big deal. Story 11. The number of people who cannot read properly is concerning. I am currently in the last year of high school, and the number of my classmates who cannot read a sentence without making errors, stuttering, or misreading entire words is frustrating. Story 12. I wish pharmaceutical companies had not stopped investing in women's chronic health issues. Apparently, they have decided it is not cost-effective to care about us. The needs of more than half the population just do not seem important to them. They appear to care more about erectile health than chronic pain. Story 13. The anti-science movement. If you want to discuss individuals who could undermine everything positive humanity has created in the last 100 years, it is this group. Story 14. COVID infections can lead to spreading illness to others and engaging in unnecessary outings while unwell. Story 15. The rise of an obvious psychopath and literal fascist to the world's most powerful position has significant implications for democratic countries striving to combat the threat of tyranny in a world where total surveillance is possible. Story 16. How emotionally draining it is to constantly let things go or be the bigger person. That builds up. Story 17. Toxic workplaces. I have observed this mainly among older individuals, but it still concerns me. It's not acceptable for my boss to threaten to reduce my hours if I don't work unpaid overtime, or to take their bad moods out on me due to their lack of emotional regulation. It is a significant issue that so few workplaces are non-toxic. This type of behavior should not be normalized. As an adult, one should know better than to act like a child raised in a neglectful and toxic environment. Story 18. Eye exams are important, especially for individuals with diabetes. I didn't take them seriously because I had perfect vision, but now I am at risk of going blind. It is best to avoid diabetes in the first place, but if you already have it, you should take eye exams seriously. Story 19. Giving children phones or iPads is a common practice. They can use a flip phone until they are old enough and responsible enough to get a smartphone. It's as simple as that. Story 20. January 6th marked a violent attempt to overthrow a democratically elected government in the United States. The fact that Trump was elected in 2024 indicates that people may not truly care. Story 21. Sibling abuse is often dismissed by parents who believe that brothers and sisters just fight. While normal teasing and play fighting occur, real abuse exists, and parents frequently downplay it. Typically, older children who experience physical, emotional, or sexual abuse by an adult may exhibit similar behaviors towards their younger siblings. However, it is essential to recognize that younger siblings can also be perpetrators. Story 22. My invisible illness affects my daily life. There is no cure, and when people see me, they often don't notice anything wrong. They struggle to understand why I experience discomfort and pain. As a result, they repeatedly ask me the same questions and still don't grasp my situation. To avoid further explanations, I now give generic responses like, "I'm fine" or "I'm okay." Story 23. The issues in the US food supply that the rest of the world has banned. There is a reason it's banned. Story 24. Trump's threats toward Canada are serious. I don't care if you think he is joking. My country is not a joke, and we are not laughing. Story 25. The way people pretend mental health is not a significant issue is concerning. You cannot simply snap out of it or get over it. Treating mental health issues as if they are invisible or not worth addressing does more harm than good. It is time we stop acting like a person's struggles are any less valid just because they are not visible. Story 26. Politicians often lie to us, go back on their promises once elected, and make backdoor deals or legislation to benefit themselves, their families, and friends. Story 27. That Donnie is catapulting the United States into authoritarianism, which is a significant problem. He is not joking. Story 28. Inequality and racism. Growing up, my entire family pretended that racism wasn't real due to the progress society has made in the last 70 years, but it is still very much present. It's just more concealed than it used to be, and it's a serious issue. I have had family members assume someone was a criminal based on their race, and I have seen hiring managers turn down candidates because of their last names, which led to assumptions about criminality. Our entire system is unequal, affecting race, class status, ethnicity, and more. Concealed racism and bias are often more dangerous than overt forms because they make discrimination feel normal. That's why I get confused when people ignore it because they have their own problems. This mentality supports a system that has divided people for centuries, and I know many individuals who do not take it as seriously as they should. I have distanced myself from sections of my family and ended relationships and friendships over both overt and concealed racism, among other issues. To me, this way of thinking is a deal breaker in any social dynamic, and I will never ignore it. Story 29. Pregnancy and delivery pose risks to the mother's body, health, and life. Additionally, parenthood can have a significant impact on an individual's overall health and mental well-being. Story 30. Social media and phone addiction are often dismissed as the normal way of life today. This is not the case, and it should not be encouraged. Story 31. The artificial intelligence takeover will affect all of us. When a machine that never needs breaks or payment can do the jobs of 5 programmers, capitalist corporations will save money and adopt the artificial intelligence regardless of how universally disliked it is by users and customers. Story 32. Having a poor educational experience contributes to why parents allow their children to misbehave towards their teachers. Story 33. Having kids is a significant life decision. Some people say, if it happens, it happens. Is that really how you're approaching a life-altering, lifelong commitment? Others are in their early 30s and still have undecided on their dating profiles. By now, you should have some idea of what you want in life. Story 34. I am surprised that no one has mentioned religion and its effects on various issues, such as anti-science, anti-LGBTQ attitudes, support for violence, division, ignorance, and illogical thinking. It creates hierarchies among people, contributes to a lack of education, and has been linked to the rise of figures like Trump and movements such as MAGA in the United States, as well as the increase of extremism globally. Many of the other problems people have discussed can often be traced back to religion and the sense of superiority it fosters, along with the division it creates. This is not limited to any single religion. All religions, by their very nature, place significant value on many of these issues. They tend to reinforce a lack of critical thinking, promote willful ignorance, and thrive on illogical beliefs and inadequate education to maintain their influence over followers. Story 35. Mothers bringing their babies to high excitement. Loud events like concerts, parties, and roller coasters can be detrimental for the child and challenging for my sanity when hearing a child scream constantly. Story 36. The ability to sue my doctor for poisoning me with a fluoroquinolone antibiotic and ibuprofen should be my right. Mixing levofloxacin and ibuprofen is neurotoxic, and the literature is widely available. The fact that he prescribed me 2 750 milligrams doses of levofloxacin and up to 4 600 milligrams doses of ibuprofen a day to treat a simple case of pneumonia is outrageous, and the serious risk posed by that combination should never have occurred. Yet I owe them $14,000 for severe tinnitus, insomnia, brain fog, and whole body weakness. I should be able to sue for loss of quality of life, but in the United States, dishonest doctors are protected. Story 37. How life on Earth is dying. We have lost so much biomass in the last 50 years. It is incredible, and everyone is just saying, but trees grow back. It will be fine. Story 38. Disregarding older individuals for being homophobic or racist and saying, that's how they were raised. It's not a big deal. Is not acceptable. It is a significant issue. Times are changing, so it's important to adapt and understand this perspective. Story 39. People not informing you that they are running late until the last second, as we agreed on a time, is frustrating. If you are running 15 to 20 minutes late, just let me know, because often I keep thinking they are not going to show up. Story 40. I see many relationships where the couple is not aligned on important issues such as having children, holding strong but differing religious or political beliefs, or having different visions for where and how they want to live. I even knew a couple where one partner entered an engagement hoping to eventually convince the other to accept an open relationship. I understand that opposites attract and that disagreement or debate can be healthy in a relationship. However, I believe if the significant ways in which a couple sees the world and plans for their future are not compatible, they are setting themselves up for failure. I do think you can have great relationships with family, friends, neighbors, and others with people who do not share your beliefs or values. But I believe it is a significant issue if those fundamental differences exist between you and the person you choose to build a life with and navigate challenges alongside. This can lead to resentment. Story 41. Insulting friends and significant others is not a love language. Roasting cannot be the only way to bond with someone. You cannot expect everyone to appreciate it or dismiss them as having a bad sense of humor if they don't enjoy it. If you are only funny when roasting someone, then perhaps you are not very funny. Story 42. The institutional lack of response to the takeover of America is concerning. I am not suggesting that any political party or media outlet is the ultimate villain. Clearly, the Republican Party and its affiliates are. This is not in question. However, the extent to which most individuals have refrained from holding accountable those responsible for safeguarding against these issues has been astonishing from an outsider's perspective. The public has been let down for years, allowing extremists and criminals to exploit every opportunity without facing real consequences at any point. It is evident that this lack of accountability leads to further issues. One should be frustrated if the fire alarm purchased is only functioning at a low volume because the manufacturer does not want to disturb anyone. Trump winning the 2024 election is a plausible outcome only because previous offenses went unpunished. Story 43. 5 million people who chose not to participate in this election are not as guilty as someone who chose to vote for Trump. Story 44. Canceling people who have different perspectives and opinions is literally killing individuality and deeper thinking, one cancellation at a time. Story 45. Caring for children is a significant responsibility. Adding an extra child can feel like turning one full-time job into two. However, society often assumes that one parent, usually the mother, can manage the full responsibility for an unlimited number of children. Story 46. To mention a few that haven't been mentioned: sexual assault, pornography, violent kinks, self-harm, use of artificial intelligence, influence of social media. Story 47. Sugar and lonely men. Lonely men are more likely to become violent for various reasons. Both loneliness and sugar significantly increase your chances of heart attack, cancer, and diabetes. We are social creatures. We were never meant to be alone, and we were never meant to consume sugar in such quantities. Story 48. Pets in stores, including emotional support animals, are not genuine service animals meant to assist individuals with disabilities. These are distinctly different categories. Story 49. People today view trust as a jail sentence where they are the warden and can invade your privacy because of the fallacy that innocent people have nothing to hide. It's ridiculous. Story 50. Thousands of technology enthusiasts are microdosing LSD daily in Silicon Valley and debating whether the general public should be allowed to make decisions for the country. Story 51. Did anyone else see the annoying Hey Culligan promotion in the comments? It was my first time seeing that. Absolutely ridiculous. Story 52. The number of influencers on social media who currently suffer from conditions that, in my experience growing up, were well-defined has expanded into a broad spectrum of issues that don't seem related. Blindness is the one that comes to mind right now. There must be a difference between being legally blind and actually not being able to see anything, right? When I see these individuals on Instagram or YouTube claiming they're blind while clearly looking at things, it feels like there's a technicality in the definition. Even I could be considered blind if I didn't wear my glasses. Story 53. One's politics are not separate from them like Jekyll and Hyde, but are an extension of their core beliefs and values. Why would they vote against those? Story 54. Patriarchy is a significant issue. It could lead to the downfall of humanity if we do not start working vigorously for equality now. Story 55. Drinking culture, especially driving under the influence, is concerning. I am not impressed that you made it home. I am disappointed that you thought you could drive, and I am relieved that you did not harm anyone. Story 56. Global warming is a pressing issue. Something is bound to change significantly in the coming years, transitioning us from an era of slow, creeping consequences into a more immediate crisis. It is difficult to predict exactly what will trigger this shift. My best guess is synchronized crop failures. One day, food supplies may suddenly diminish, marking a profound change in our understanding of food security. Story 57. Parents hitting children as a form of discipline is simply child abuse, but it has been normalized because they believe they went through the same experience growing up. Story 58. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. The annexation and false flag operations occurred while the world watched as a dictatorship attacked a democratic nation. There were many words and gestures of protest, but little action and no real consequences. Fast forward to today. It is still happening. Story 59. The flu. People act like it is no big deal, but influenza kills 36,000 people a year and causes serious complications for others. Story 60. The rise of anti-intellectualism is evident in the United States, where many intellectuals are being silenced out of fear. Some politicians are declaring that enough is enough and are naming the issue for what it is. For example, to resist this trend, some have proposed laws that make it illegal to ban a book, explaining that book banning is a hallmark of dictatorships. Story 61. Many people aren't aware that they should be getting tested for sexually transmitted diseases much more often than they are. They jump from one relationship to the next, having unprotected sex, and then act as if it's not a big deal when you ask about it. I have encountered this several times on dates with people before becoming physical, and it's shocking how few individuals get tested between partners. Even in the United States, testing is completely free without insurance. I find it completely baffling. Story 62. Can we stop pretending that sleep deprivation isn't a big deal? People brag about running on 4 hours of sleep like it's a badge of honor. No, you're not a productivity expert, you're just irritable, unfocused, and likely to forget where you placed your keys again. Sleep affects everything. Your mood, your brain, your immune system, and even your skin. Story 63. Spending $15 to $20 just as the delivery fee for food from apps like DoorDash and Uber Eats is less than a 5-minute walk, so get some exercise and save money. Story 64. Killing civilians when Democrats do it. If you complain about President Trump attacking Yemen, but still speak fondly of President Obama, reflect on your perspective. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.